commissioner who championed their this restriction for social media for children 16 and under. It's interesting. She says she preferred to not call it a ban, but a delay. So this is how she thinks of it. It's a delay on when children can have access to social media. And it's relatively new, and we'll see how it plays out. I mean, here's the thing. We should trust parents to understand that parents are right to be concerned about their children's, the amount of time their children are spending on social media and the impact it is having on their mental health. It's real, Rav. It's real. And you know, over 30 states now in the United States have, for example, banned cell phones in schools, and are seeing very positive outcomes for that. And I think that is something that we are seeing, that increasingly we're seeing that whatever the drawback, the benefit outweighs the drawback. But the work that has to be done is understanding that also we've got to have guardrails on what big tech is doing. And whether it be social media or what's happening with AI. Back to the social media piece, I was actually very pleased to see that of the advocates for guardrails on social media were all these parents who just won that case against Meta and YouTube around the harm to children, so many of whom have actually died by suicide. You look at, and when we talk about suicide rates among children, and then you look at the suicide rates among Black children, we cannot ignore the reality of how, among the many factors that impact the mental health and well-being of our children, this is one of them. And the additional point I would make is, if we're sitting around waiting for governments to handle this, we may be sitting around for a long time. And I will say, though, states are taking it on, like New York has done some interesting work, California has done some interesting work. So governments can, but again, this administration through Trump has basically said it's either federal legislation or nothing, but you know there's going to be no federal legislation because half his cabinet are invested in the technology and are in the pocket of big tech. So where we would like to know and believe that government traditionally has a role to play in reducing harm, you know, we've seen it with some state governments. I don't know if we're going to see it with the federal government anytime soon. Then you could say, well, then where else could the protections come from? Well, it's not going to come from the industry itself, because the industry has already figured out a business model where the algorithm is fueled by fear. And fear fuels the algorithm, and the algorithm fuels profit. So that's going to be difficult to expect that they will self-police, because they pretty much said that they're not going to. So then who's left? This is where I say the consumer, who, as we know, when we know our market power, our ability to have an impact on the marketplace, we can actually create movements that are about progress. And part of that will be, and I say this to NAN, is the work that we will continue to do to educate the people, the public, our friends and neighbors, the folks where we organize, to help them understand the effects of social media so that they will know what to demand of the market.